Welcome back, everybody. Today's topic is a very important one. As we go into class number 9 of Learn Spiritism, we'll be talking about something that all of us who ended up going throughout our lifetime, either with our own self or from a loved one's perspective. Today's topic is obsession. Let's get going. To start off the ideal of obsession, we're going to go over into some of the definitions that both Allan Kardec himself and some spirits have given us relating to obsession. As we know, obsession is that domain that some spirits have over others. This is Kardec himself defining the term obsession in the Medium's book. In other words, when one spirit have a domain, have a control over another spirit, that is defined as obsession. Joanne of Angelis, the spirit guide, the spirit mentor, defines obsession as being this generalized disease that happens among humankind, or amongst all of us, as a result of some unhappy and some desperate psychic commerce between folks. In other words, when there's this interaction, or this unhappy or desperate interaction, obsession happens when one spirit is trying to gather or to control or to dominate the other spirit, or to insculpt in the obsessed spirit his or her ideas. Allan Kardec, again in the Medium's book, defines obsession as this persistent action that an evil spirit exercises over an individual that goes from a simple moral influence to a complete perturbation of the organism of mental faculties. In other words, it can be very simple, it can be very complex, it can have very small consequences, it can have large consequences, and we'll be going over those as we move forward into our program. Next, what about causes of obsession? A lot of people may think that, oh, I did not do anything wrong in this life. I've always lived a good life. Why am I being the subject of some obsessions in this life? As we understand, the obsession, as Allan Kardec himself defines, always comes, or explains, always comes from a moral imperfection that gives an opening to the evil spirit, which translates to all of us. We have lived many different lives. And in the past, at some time in the past, we may have caused some affliction, some problems, some traumas to other individuals. And because of that wrongdoing, that fellow spirit wants to come back and seek revenge. Or, which is also one of the origins of these relationships between the obsessed and the obsessor in a previous existence. Sometimes even in this current existence. Also from addicted minds. Every time we fall into an addiction, we open this channel so that spirits who also find themselves addicted with the same conditions are going to gather with us, are going to interact with us, are going to help us continue fostering that addiction. For example, if I have an addiction for alcohol, for instance, every time I go and try to sip a little glass of alcohol, chances are I'm opening up this channel of communication to all the entities in the spirit world that also confines or are also like or into alcohol themselves. And every time I do that, I'm opening up this channel, and they are more prone to come and obsess me and drink with me in some sort of a vampirization of my fluids, of my energies. Another instance is rebellious temperaments, or suspicious, as Allan Kardec himself defines in the Genesis book. So every time we become rebellious, every time we become angry, every time we have some different behaviors than the ones we are used to, we change our vibrational mind. We change the energies by which we are connecting with other spirits. And it's a lot easier for spirits who also have the same temperament, who also have the same behaviors, to come and congregate with us. Therefore, we're opening up again the channel for obsessors to come and seek mates or playmates in those temperaments, in those behaviors. Violent characters or personalities, in the same way as we mentioned with rebellious temperament. Every time we turn ourselves to violence, every time we do something that is not our normal or status quo behavior, if we become violent for some reason, if we become rebellious in the previous example. All those characters, all those temperaments, all those behaviors are going to invite obsessor spirits to come and gather with us. They also have an affinity with those same behaviors. And they're going to, as we have in our normal lives, all of our friends, all of our loved ones have somewhat the same likes or same behaviors that we associate with. And in the same token, every time we become violent, we have rebellious behaviors. Every time we have anger, hatred, all those negative feelings, we're going to invite people that have the same to come and stay close with us. Another great behavior is when we become idle, when we don't put to good use our daily lives. In other words, once we become idle in terms of not being in tune with work, not being in tune with our normal activities, our normal commitments, both at home, in our work life, also commitments with other faculties, other facilities of our lives. Every time we turn ourselves into that behavior, we're calling up or we're inviting spirits who also have the same affinity for being idled, for being, in that environment. And of course, that's also based on the mental symphony through the habit of the same inferior passions. Every time we let our lives fall into one of those inferior passions, as we mentioned before, we're inviting spirits to come and congregate with us and stay with us in that same vibration of a phase, if you will. Also important to mention are the degrees of obsession. As we mentioned in the beginning of our program, there is the simple degree of obsession. So the spirit does not hide his bad intentions. You did something bad to me, I'm going to go over you, I'm going to go after you, I want to seek revenge. You killed my loved one in a previous incarnation, now I'm here to seek revenge, to seek payback. That's a normal, simple obsession. Moving further down, the fascination, or that illusion that the spirit paralyzes the reason. In other words, we can't think by ourselves anymore. We have this whole twisted thoughts. I don't know where this is coming. I never thought about this. I never thought about that. Where are these thoughts coming from? If we ever encounter ourselves in that situation, I don't know where this thought is coming from. What have I done to cause it? Let's be careful because we may be the victims of an obsessor spirit. And the last and strongest degree of obsession is subjugation, where the patient is under total control. In other words, we don't control our lives too much anymore. The obsessor spirit is telling us, go left, go right, stay forward, stay focused, say this, say that. That's the strongest or the most dangerous degree of obsession. It's also important to mention in all these degrees, we are ultimately responsible for causing the obsessor spirit to come down to us. It's not that they are the ones who are at responsibility, who are at fault. Remember that we caused that fault. We caused that fault in the past or in this present life. We invited that spirit to come and obsess us. So that's why in the next slides, we're going to go over some types of obsessions, ways to eliminate ourselves or to control obsessor spirits from coming down to us, and also some recipes to control obsession. Now we're going to go over some types of obsession. Many people think that obsession only happens between discarnate spirits and incarnate spirits. Yeah, that also happens. That's only one of the scenarios. As you can see here, we have discarnate to incarnate. We also have discarnate to discarnate. Both in the spiritual world, discarnate obsessing discarnates. We have incarnate obsessing discarnates. Give a great perfect example on this. A loved one passes. So that my Uncle Joe passes or departs, goes back to the spirit world. And I keep thinking, oh, Uncle Joe, I wish you were here. I wish we had some more time to get together. I wish we had talked. I wish this. I wish that. I wish you were here. And you keep thinking about Joe. You keep thinking about Uncle Joe. You keep thinking about Uncle Joe in terms of you want his presence to you, to be close to you now. That's a cause of obsession. You're obsessing that spirit who sometimes are still tied to his material life and cannot move on because we are trying to get back and pull him back to this reality right now. And we have the next one on the list is incarnate to incarnate. So we can obsess another person who's also an incarnate. Obsessing by, as you know, sometimes we love a person and the person doesn't love us anymore. We keep calling, we keep emailing, we keep doing things, we go after the person, stalking. Those are the visible obsession, but also in our minds. When we keep thinking about that person, keep wishing that person some other things. I wish that she was here, I wish she was with me. Why did she do that? I keep thinking, overthinking about that scenario, that type of situation. I'm actually obsessing that person. And the last here in our list is self-obsession. When we obsess ourselves, I'm obsessed, as the word in English very well says, I'm obsessed to get another job. I'm obsessed to do this. I'm obsessed to learn another language. Whatever it is that we're trying to do, we got to be careful about having the intention to do something, having the motivation to do something, aligned with discipline, with self-control, with diligence, with hard work, that has some limits. The moment we cross those limits, it starts to become an obsession. You've got to be very careful not to do that to ourselves, because we are harming our own selves by doing that. Continuing the process of obsession. A spirit, Manuel Filomeno de Miranda, a good spirit guide that talks a lot about mediumship, obsession, how to treat obsession, how to dialogue with spirits in mediumship meetings. He has a great quote that I'd like to read for you guys. Connecting subtly brain to brain, mind to mind, dominant will over a weaker will, organ to organ, through the perispirit by which he identifies him or herself with the incarnate. In other words, the obsessor spirit couples with the obsessed spirit, in this case incarnates or discarnates, via the perispirit. By giving us the intuition, by coupling with perispirit, sometimes we think those are our own thoughts. I never thought about doing harm to anybody. What if all of a sudden I have this thought in my mind? What's going on? Right? What if I don't recollect any time having these conversations with, how come I'm remembering this? So the obsessor spirit, that's how the process works. The spirit's perispirit connects or couples with our own perispirit, and then it starts pushing us to do something. It starts to push our thoughts to think that we are our own thoughts. It starts to push our thoughts for us to believe that those are our own thoughts. So the rule of thumb is, if you never thought about that before, if you really never understood why these thoughts are coming from, let's be careful, because we may be the victims of an obsessor spirit. The same spirit says, in every obsession, every single one of them, folks, even in the simplest cases, the incarnate conducts him inside the requirements that the preponderant factors that facilitate alienation. In other words, the moral debts to rescue. So the obsessor spirit is trying to go back and to maybe collect a debt that we caused in the past. The obsessor spirit is going after something that we caused them in the past. It's not for all of a sudden they're going to come and say, you know what, I don't like you for some reason, I'm going to... No. We have caused a debt with that person, with that spirit in the past. That's why we must say, though, every time an obsession is in place, we are the ones, the obsessed ones, are causing that or letting that happen. Of course, each according to its own, the obsessor spirit is going to have to go back and readjust for those wrongdoings, itself. But also from our own perspective, we need to be very careful on finding ways to avoid obsession, which is the exact same title of our next slide, Ways to Avoid Obsession. The most important one. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, let us focus on practicing Jesus' gospel, Jesus' teachings. That is how that's the process, or that is the tool that's going to take us from point A to point B. In this case, from an obsessed situation or circumstance to a free of obsession in the future. Let us strengthen our souls with charity, with goodwill, with prayer, with self-education. Learn more about obsession. Medium's book, it's a great compendium of knowledge, of information about mediumship and also obsession. Let us, if we have access to, visit some disobsession meetings. In the Spiritist centers, most often it's possible for us to go in and consult doing the fraternal counseling meetings, and then ask for our own names to be put in the disobsession meetings. So the team of fellow Spiritists will be able to help us by dialoguing, by conversing with that spirit that's causing harm to us. Passes, as you said, every Spiritist organization has passes. Spiritually magnetized water. Every time we go there, the little water that's after the meetings, sometimes before those meetings, have the fluidic energies that we need to rebalance our own bodies. Courses, as we mentioned in education before, right? Gospel at home, that practice, that very nice practice that invites good spirits to come to our houses so we can talk to each other. They can come, they can hygienize the ambience, they can help us, they can give us passes as well every week. At the same time, we open up a book, one of those Kardec's works or one of those additional works from Emmanuel and so forth. We open up, do a little reading, do a prayer, a little reading, comment on that, then final prayer. If we're alone, we do it alone. We're never alone. There's always the spirits with us. If you have family members, roommates, and so forth, we can do it with them. If they don't really like the idea, we can do it in our own secluded bathroom, or even in the bathroom if needed. It doesn't really matter, folks. As long as we're inviting good spirits to come to our house and to help us achieve good results. And again, the most important one, again, revisited, is the education of our thoughts and of our words. When we're thinking, we're connecting with this plethora of spirits who are out there. When we are talking, we are submitting our words to the environment that other spirits will hear them. That's why it's really important to be careful on the words that we speak and the thoughts that we have. I'm going to show you some illustrations on what obsession really is. The first one you can see on the right, there's this mental larvae that's being removed from the spirit who's being treated. In this case, passes. On the left, there's this whole images of animals, of wild animals that were in the presence of the obsessed spirit. In those circumstances, we're going to see this by going to the passes therapy. Those folks are being treated as the pass givers are applying them or applicating them passes. And on the last illustration, as we mentioned here, we have the hypnosis or the vice obsession. If we have some vices, we know it's very difficult to get rid of a vice, but it's really important to understand what happens in the background of every time we let ourselves fall into a vice. And also the distant obsession. In other words, every time we think about somebody, every time we send our thoughts to the universe, to this whole fish tank of connectivity, we're all connected, as we know. And by sending our thoughts, that person will receive it. Oh, Uncle Joe and so forth, the whole example of my Uncle Joe who passed away. Yes, that person will receive it. Right? It's proven already that once we start thinking about that person will receive. May not be able to understand all of our thoughts, but that person will receive. So with that, we close our obsession topic for today. Again, a really important one that talks about the types of obsession, how the process takes place, ways to avoid it, and as we mentioned before, all of us, without exception, will go into an obsessed state or an obsessor state throughout our lifetime. So let us pay attention to these information, so these illustrations. Let us pay attention to this knowledge that we just talked about, and let this be our invitation for us to learn more, go a little deeper on the subject, because it's a very important one. With that, I want to thank you very much for attending. Have a great day.